You know, it occurred to me. It occurred to me not too long ago, very recently, that spending a lot of money is kind of gay. Well, no, let's not say gay. I want to say it's very effeminate, which is why a lot of women and effeminate gay guys do it a lot, and why a lot of black people do it a lot, right? Because a lot of black people, we grow up in single parent households, right? So you have a lot of dudes who, they grew up with single mothers around a lot of aunts, right? Maybe they had an uncle or two who was cool, but they probably didn't have a dad, probably didn't even have a grandfather that they knew really. Maybe they had some older brothers, older male cousins, whatever. But mostly a lot of black men in America have a disproportionately high, like, effeminate energy around them as they grow up. So, they grow up and some of them get money. And what do? They start spending lots of money. And I really do think that being a consumer, I don't know, it's almost like a low T sort of hobby, even when it's done with masculine shit like guns. Maybe if you're doing it for collector type shit, right? Maybe then there's an excuse. But I think just spending a lot of money on shit like on Funko Pops or really just anything, just work just to have it. Not even you're being a collector and you want to marvel at the shit you do. Because I think if you're doing a lot of gunpla collecting or something like that, at least you're painting the shit. At least you're putting it together. Just buying something so you can put it on your wall, glance at it every once in a while. I don't know, man. That's kind of ladylike. I feel like a better way, a more masculine way to waste money is gambling, right? Throwing money away on crypto or poly market or, the casino or horse racing. That's a good way. That's a very masculine way to waste money. But spending a lot of money on just trinkets and shit, I don't know. That's for women, I feel. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good morning. What's up, everybody? Hold on, let me put that on screen real quick. This is where all the VODs go. All the VODs, this VOD will also go there. Can't spend too much time on stream this time. It's going to be a short one, which you guys know me. I say that it's going to be a short stream. We're usually here for like 3-4 hours after I say that. But, this time I swear. To be fair, that is a short stream for certain people. I consider an average length stream, like somebody who streams full time, unlike me, unlike my lazy black ass, somebody who actually does stream all the time, I would consider that something like, I don't know, fucking 8 hours, 6, maybe 8, maybe even 10 hours a day. Nah, that's too much. 6 to 8 hours is what I would consider full time for a full-time streamer. Somebody like me, though, it's like I stream for 4 hours. That's not much. That's part-time. I don't even stream every day. Sometimes I stream like maybe 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week if a lot of shit is going on and I got some leftovers from my last video, which I do have some leftovers from Comicsgate that we haven't gotten to. The problem is too much of it. I talked about EVS and Veto too much before I even put up the Comicsgate video, and I wanted to put some distance. I wanted to let those guys breathe because Veto actually did. Veto did like, wait, hold on, let me see. I can actually go right to it. Okay, we go here, right? And what do we see? Who's right there? Who's the newest comment on this bitch? And oh, is that Veto? It's Veto. Hey. And he said, lol, right? Why did you steal 120K? Where is the super killer comic book and lunchboxes? Yeah, where are those, Veto? I appreciate it though, buddy. I appreciated that you came and you watched this stream of me making fun of you for defending pedophiles for an hour. I do appreciate that. You keep watching my content. It's weird. He only watches my content. Veto is the only guy. Veto is the only dude who I talk about and he comes and watches my content, and he specifically only watches the content of me shitting on him. None of the other dudes that I talk about do that if they do watch my content, right? Like, when Review Tech USA, he also watches my content. He doesn't watch any of the shit I make about him. None of the videos or streams I've done on Rich, he does. He only watched the quartering video and he said it was good, right? Same thing with EVS. He watched my quartering documentary. He will not watch any of the other videos I made about him, because why would you watch detractor content? But Vito, I don't know. He's like, his brain is fucked. He's like Phil. He's like Phil. He's obsessed with detractor content about him. He can't stop watching it. Just like the Jomas, right? That's a lol-cal quality, not being able to ignore the haters. But hey, I appreciate you, Vito, if you're watching this too. Anyway, I'm gonna let Vito live for a little bit. I got some other things to make fun of him about, right? Like, holy shit, I'm actually shocked. I thought I was gonna run out of shit to say about Vito, but nah, I got plenty. I got plenty in the chamber, bro. I could go all week with nothing but Vito content for real. The only reason why I don't make a video about him is because I feel, again, I already made the Comet documentary, and I'm not gonna let Vito occupy that much of my timeline anymore. He's already taken up too much of it. There are other people we gotta cover. Like, this Blerd video has been out for almost 2 weeks. I've been wanting to talk about it. I gotta get it off the docket now because it's already old, you know, stuff like that. There's other content I gotta cover, but I will get to, it's like, I will get to Dick too. Dick and Vito will both get their turns, like, in depth, right? Eventually. But for right now, we gotta move on to other things. Gotta get other stuff off the docket before summer, because we got some big shit coming in summer. Tadas Jank Evicius. Thank you for the 10 euros. Talking about wasting money, here's some of mine. I appreciate you, bro, for being a consumer for me. Appreciate it. So anyway, the last time we left Ernie here, Ernie, that is Blerd Without Fear, the dude who's obsessed with race, and I don't know, he's one of these dudes. He's one of these black dudes who's very obsessed about, what do they call it? Activists in the streets, colonizer in the, activists in the streets, colonized in the sheets, because he's married to a white woman and has a half-white child, which there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, it's very weird to me when I see these pro-bliggity black people and they go and they procreate less black people into the world, right? Because I've seen his son, because he put him in a video once. And I don't know, bro. I feel like his son, he was talking about Rob, right? Comics Explained. He was talking about how Rob doesn't like being black because he made his avatar for his YouTube channel too light skin, when really he really is that light skin. Ernie's kid is lighter than Rob is, right? I don't think that Ernie's kid could fucking say nigga in the future. For real. I think that nigga's actually that light. He gonna have to move to the deep south, keep that nigga in the sun for a little while if he wants them to be able to say nigga. It's like Drake's kid. Drake's son, Adonis, or whatever his name is, that kid is light as fuck. That's a white boy. He just made like a regular Jew. That's what Drake did, right? His son was never going to be able to say nigga with people who don't know that he is the son of Drake, of Aubrey Graham. So it's what it is, and he decided to respond. He decided to respond to Rob responding to him, because he's going to pretend like he didn't expect for that to happen. Oh, I didn't expect Rob to respond to me. Well, then why would you make the video? Why would you do that? Why would you make a video if you didn't want the dude you were talking about to react to it or respond to it or do anything? It's all just, you know, weird mind games, pretending like he's ignorant, pretending like he doesn't know exactly what he's doing. You know, it's very predictable. We're going to get through this. And, you know, I'm not even going to fast forward through it because it's only 20 minutes. It's going to be a short stream anyway, because I got to get to a lot of stuff. There actually is a lot of stuff that I'm trying to get through because I'm trying to put out 2 videos this month. So I'm going to be very busy. I still am going to stream. There's going to be a Monday stream. I want to start streaming at least twice a week regularly, right? I don't want to, because last week I was kind of slacking. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of slacking, even though I was busy moving, IRL shit. I was trying to get through that Comics Gay documentary, but there's gonna be plenty of content this month, guys. Don't worry. D Cogs, thank you for the $4.99. Can you feature my lizard in the next outro? It's Night Anole. Hey, if you send me a video, sure. I love putting videos. I love putting lizards in videos.
This whole thing went way further than I thought it would have.
Like, automatically, he's playing dumb. This went way further than I thought it would have. It went as far as you wanted it to do. Like, nobody, if you're somebody and you're just making YouTube, you just do YouTube as a hobby, you're just some kid in middle school, you're making some dumb video with your friends, you know, like how YouTube used to be, how the site originally was intentioned to be just like a place where people can make their own little home movies or whatever and put them on the internet. If you're somebody like that, you don't care if your video gets no views. If you're somebody who makes YouTube videos for a living, you hope, like, in the back of your mind that every video goes viral. Maybe you don't make your videos with that sole intention, but nobody puts a video, especially not a video like his, which was completely just off kilter from the type of content he usually makes. Usually he just makes like black focused comic book cape shit type content. That's the type of content that he makes. And then out of nowhere, he makes a drama video about another black comic YouTuber. You knew exactly what you were doing.
Like, I honestly was just going to post my video and leave it at that. But then everybody just started watching it more. I don't really know why. This whole thing actually turned into something that I've never imagined it would become. The crazy part about it is that it's kind of transcended normal comic book spaces to the point where even people who don't normally talk about comics are talking about it. Like, I saw a content creator.
Well, what were you expecting? You weren't just talking about comic book shit. You were talking about race and politics and ICE and all this other stuff that has nothing to do with comic books at all. And then you're surprised that people who don't just talk about comic books decide to get into your culture war. Bro, everybody talks about culture war these days. People in comics, people in video games, people in movies, people in music, just people who do nothing, right? Just everybody is obsessed with culture war these days.
Bill talking about it, which was not on my bingo card.
That's part of the reason why the skeptics were everywhere. Why the skeptics back in like the early 10s and early to late 10s, it seems like they were intersecting with every single fucking community, with the gaming space, anime space, comic space, political commentary, regular commentary. It's because everything became culture war. So if you're somebody who's culture war centric, well, that's an easy way to just like tug at all these different strings.
For any of that. And then I saw that W. Kamau Bell was talking about it as well, like in a reply.
Is it really a discussion about one black person calling out another black person for not doing their blackness correctly? Comment Explained is not MAGA coded or even Rogan sphere coded. All right, what does that mean? Why do people keep acting like Joe Rogan is a fucking conservative? He's not. Joe Rogan is one of those dudes. I remember he was one of those guys who was like pro-gay marriage back when it was like cool for even Democrats to not be pro-gay marriage. Joe Rogan was outwardly, openly pro-gay marriage before Obama and Hillary Clinton was. And people just act like he's conservative because I don't know. He thinks that parents should be alerted by teachers if their teachers are trying to groom them into being trans or something like that. Like, he's not super far. If you're not super far on the left, you're a conservative now. It's really weird. But he's also not FD Signifier. He's a black guy who's a fan of Marvel and DC Comics and loves getting into the weeds of them. I like his content because it's a way to keep up with comics without having to read them. Okay, I like his content because it's a way to keep up with comics without having to read them. This is the reason why you can have these superhero cape shit channels that are really popular but none of that popularity reflects on comic books themselves. Because what do you mean? A way to keep up with comics without having to read them? The point of a comic is for it to be read. The point of a comic is for it to be consumed, right? That's the point of a comic book. So this is only a phenomena that you can find in like Western American superhero comics because there's so much lore and it's this giant interconnected universe with all this sort of continuity and timelines and shit. So you need these sort of lore master YouTubers who read a bunch of cape shit comics and they just like condensify it all and just like feed it to you. You don't have to do this with manga or indie comics, right? You just pick those up and read them. I don't need somebody to fucking, I don't know, explain Chainsaw Man or Dragon Ball to me. I would just go and read them because I can literally just go to Barnes & Noble right now, pick up volume 1 of either of those and start from the beginning. I don't need a YouTuber to explain all of the lore and continuity of these manga and shit because they're self-contained stories. He understands comics as metaphors for society, but he does not get into politics.
To somebody else's post, I think it was Tony Weaver Jr. was talking about it, and Bell basically came in and replied to that, and he ended up deleting the reply, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, it's crazy how that works out. Some other people have also reached out to me that I normally would not have contact with, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yes, Kamo Bell, he's another one of those guys, actually. Hold on, oh, shit. Almost dropped something. He's another one of those guys that I was talking about. He's actually he is literally exactly like Ernie. Another one of these race hustling, super pro bliggity black niggas who he's decided he's gonna make like less black niggas in the world. I'm gonna delete the black population pool, right? Like I'm gonna marry a white woman and I'm gonna have some mulatto children, right? Who are probably also going to date white people too. Like here's the thing, like half white, half black people, they usually end up dating white people because, you know, I mean, it's the majority of the population. So his descendants, his grandkids probably gonna also be white. You know who didn't? Hey, you know who actually is married? A black man who is married to a black woman? Comics Explained. You know another black man who's also married to a black woman? Eric July. Ain't that funny?
But no, let's address.
Ain't it crazy how the super far left, the not super far left, not super progressive, not super race hustling black dudes are like, they can marry black women?
That's the first thing. I'm not trying to take Rob's audience. I don't want his audience. Like, his audience wants something very specific. They want someone who is just going to spoon feed them a comic book and not offer anything transformative. That's not what I do. It just ain't in me. Sorry. And not to mention his audience.
You are super overplaying your own content, buddy.
Has never really.
Like, it's literally just, hold on, let me see. Let's hear that again.
Offer anything transform. Going to spoon feed them a comic book and not offer anything transformative.
Let's see. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being too harsh on Ernie here. Maybe he really does. Let's just watch a random video. Okay. Okay, Age of X-Men Explained Part 10. Let's see.
You can't see me, you Stevie Wonder.
Long shot series. This is a book which, to be fair, I think Jonathan Hickman and Jerry Duggan, they understood the assignment from the word go. I think that's something I've actually talked about quite a bit. I'm not here to harp on House of X or the Krakoa era or father aspect of this. Rhodey, showed how like Rhodey stepped up to be a part of her life since Landslide's parents had died during the whole X-Virus deal. So yeah, I dig that part. Honestly, I hope that maybe
I don't know, bro. It just seems like the same shit that every other comic book channel does, right? It seems like you're just kind of boring. You're just more boring than Rob is.
That's not what I
already find Rob kind of boring just because I find a lot of, I don't know, I'm not fascinated by comic book lore. I just find it kind of, it insists upon itself, which I guess you can't help when your universe is almost a century old.
do. It just ain't in me. Sorry. And not to mention his audience has never really been too terribly fond of me. Like, I remember when I first started, like, kind of...
Man, that's crazy. Imagine not being fond of this gentleman here. Imagine thinking that this dude is a fucking loser. Imagine thinking that this dude just, he's just an attention whore who just comes and causes problems and just accuses you of shit because you don't share his problems. I wonder why. I wonder why people don't like you, bro.
Picking up steam.
Project Libertad, thank you for $5. Latino here, dating a goth black girl with a huge chest who is pro black power, and her entire dating history has 0 black men. You were right.
In the comic book space, I used to get all kinds of people from his audience.
You know what's weird? I don't understand why they don't hide it better. Because I remember there was recently this post about this black woman who's like an activist, and she's talking about how, oh, I hate white supremacy. White supremacy, it's so loud. I'm so tired. We're so tired of it. Tired of these white men. And then somebody in the quote tweets immediately just posted a photo of her walking around with her white husband. And it's like, okay, like, white supremacy is so loud. Like, is that you talking about your husband? Is your husband too loud?
It's coming to my comment section and talking.
Just tell your husband to be quiet.
And shit about me, calling me a broke ass Comics Explained. That oh, you're just copying.
It's facts though.
Comics Explained, and
you are.
Which is kind of funny when
you know, to be fair, I'm saying he's copying Comics Explained. All of these comic book channels basically do the same thing. For real though. They all do. They all basically do the same thing. They have about the same format. They all talk about the same comics, the same characters, right? The same universes. They have fucking the same backgrounds, damn near, right? Same Marvel, DC shit. Some of them have more Marvel shit. Some of them have more DC shit. Sometimes you got the niggas who want to be special. So they'll have a bunch of Image shit, and they'll have some Spawn statues or some shit like that, or Invincible behind them. But generally, all these channels are kind of interchangeable with each other. The only thing that really stands out between them is the personality of the channel owners themselves.
Think about it,
which is why your channel is stagnating, because you're a piece of shit.
Even back
and you're boring.
Then I was like, we're not really the same, because, you know, we come at things from a very...
Didn't AOC go extra white with a ginger? Yes, she did. Jefferson C. Post, thank you for $2.
Very different angle. Rob doesn't talk politics in his videos. I will. That's already one thing we don't do the same. I also have a tendency to cover...
You probably don't. I'm getting tired of hearing people say shit like, I talk politics in my videos, and all they do is talk about culture war. That's all they do, right? None of them ever want to talk about, I don't know, they never want to talk about municipality politics. They never want to talk about, they never even want to talk about shit that's kind of secular, like unions. Like that union shit is a very left-leaning topic that doesn't have anything to do with race or gender or sexuality or identity politics or any of that shit. It's all identity politics. That's the only politics that they know.
More black-centric stuff on my channel than Rob would, and talk about it from an angle that I don't think Rob would be entirely comfortable talking about with his audience, because in the times where he has tried to in the past, he has gotten lit up for it. Yeah, no, I don't want his audience, and I don't think his audience wants me, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they made it pretty clear in that deleted live stream. Rob and I don't do the same thing. Rob of Comics Explained,
Let's go back and read some of those real quick. People like him ruined everything comics with DEI. True. How can you follow 2K people and keep... See, that's what I was saying. Last time we talked about this dude on stream, I was like, how the fuck could you follow 2,000 people on Twitter and keep up? And then he revealed that a good chunk of the people he followed were just Instagram baddies and cosplay chicks, which is just, you know, more baddies. So it's just gooner material. at least half, probably over that, at least over 1,000 people who he follows on Twitter are just like goon material, which is a very weird thing to admit when you're a married man. I wonder how his white wife feels about that.
I don't think his audience wants me, and that's fine.
Black privilege is so exhausting. We gotta stop being so sensitive about everything.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
damn, I always thought FUBU shit looked cool as fuck growing up. I never did. Even before FUBU was even like a term that anybody knew what the fuck it was. All that shit that was like, this is the same thing that like the general population has, but it's been blackified. I always thought that was kind of lame because it's always just a lamer version of it. It's just lazily been, I don't know, blackified in a very uninspired way to appeal to black people. I follow you, Explained, and Neurotic and Drinker. I think if you watch their content, the bad things they talk about are forced diversity. The rest is jokes, especially to each other. There are some racist people in this chat. Okay.
they made it pretty clear in that deleted live stream.
There are some, Young Ripper must be racist too. This is just stupid. Cancel racist Ernie. I think it's kind of sad, this whole situation.
Rob and I don't do the same thing. Rob,
I don't know what he was trying to show there. It didn't seem like none of these, I don't know, none of these seem like
they
crazy.
made it pretty clear in that
None of this shit seems crazy to me.
deleted live stream. Rob and I don't.
This is what happens when you get a boutique audience, is because he can only talk like the shit that he's talking about. When it reaches a general audience, everybody's like, what the fuck is this nigga saying? Like, what are you talking about, bro? What are you whining about? We don't even like, because he's so used to just talking to his same few thousand people who watch his videos and shit, that when he hits, when this video, maybe he actually was a little bit surprised by how, well, it didn't really go viral, but how the outsized growth of that video he made about Rob, because it ended up touching audiences who usually don't pay attention to him, and they started paying attention to him. And he had a lot of people probably calling him a retard and a race grifter, and you're one of those people who ruin media in general and comics specifically. And they're right? And he probably didn't like that. He probably wasn't used to that sort of heat.
Do the same thing. Rob of Comics Explained, we don't do the same thing. Yes.
Yeah, he is a lot like actual fandom.
Comic book YouTubers who talk about comic books, but we talk about them in very, very different ways. There is nothing I have to gain from his audience, because his audience, and I know this because I have been in his comments.
Dave, thank you for the £5. It is the same with British anti-immigration dudes. Their girlfriends are almost always non-English. That's actually something I've always also noticed.
Sections.
Never ask a white supremacist the race of his girlfriend.
They want a very specific thing.
I'm not saying that dudes who are like, I don't know, anti-immigration are automatically white supremacists. I'm just saying that's the meme. And in my experience, the meme tends to be very true, right?
And I don't provide.
Quite a few like super right-wing people who for some reason are dating Asian women or dating Latinas or dating half black women.
That specific thing. If they want to follow me, that is fine. But I mean, I'm not actively.
You think it would be easy for somebody who calls himself a white nationalist to stay away from brown pussy, but I guess not.
Trying to steal them, because they clearly, and I've seen people in his comments say as much, they prefer him because he just talks about the comic. He spoon feeds them the comic. And
yes. What do you mean? Why are you trying to paint that as something crazy? Yes, I come to the comic book YouTuber because he talks about comic books. Why the fuck? It's like, oh, I'm different. I talk about politics. Yes, and that's why your channel stagnated. Because why the fuck would I want a comic book YouTuber to talk about politics? Why would I come to you for that? I got this thing a little bit too loud. But why would I come to a comic book YouTuber about fucking politics? Like, why would I not go to somebody who actually talks about politics all the time? See, this is just like with Review Tech USA, where it's like, I'm going to talk about politics now, and I'm going to be about Rich. All the people who want to like hear about politics from some YouTuber, they already got a guy from that. They already got a guy for that. They got a streamer for that. They got a news source for that. You are not that guy, right? You're not fit for that. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about half the time.
A lot of
I don't even know what the fuck Ernie is talking about a lot of the times, right? Like, maybe I haven't watched enough of his content to be able to tell like where he is at politically wise, right? But just judging off of the few shit that I have seen, it seems like it's all just identity politics all the way down. Nothing about infrastructure, nothing about economics, nothing about unions, nothing about trade, nothing about how like immigration or migration affects like inner cities, nothing about crime, nothing about any of that sort of politics. It's just id poll, like the laziest form of political discourse, which is why fucking everybody does it, from dudes who review movies and video games to niggas who review comics. They all talk about id poll because any retard can just talk about race and gender and sex and act like they're an authority on it.
cases makes it so they
You don't gotta read a
go out and
book.
buy-
You don't gotta read a book to be able to talk about, I don't know, demographics, I guess.
them or
Which isn't true, but again, they don't know.
read
that.
them themselves. I've even seen him talk to somebody recently. Somebody I'm actually going to be talking to by the time you probably see this video. I've seen a couple of people actually say as much. Kamal Bell, I also saw say something very similar that, oh yeah, I follow him because I don't have time to read comics, don't want to read comics, don't want to pay for comics, whatever.
I actually agree with Ernie right here. It's like, oh, I love hearing about comics. I just don't want to read them. Or, okay, do you really like comics then? That's something I always wondered, right? All these people are like, well, I love the comic lore videos, but I just don't like reading them. It's like, it's this weird thing where people actually do like, people say that there's superhero, there's cape shit fatigue. That is not true. It's sort of true, but not really, because people love cape shit. They love superheroes, right? That's why people still watch these Marvel and DC movies and TV shows. It's why people like the video games, right? People love the Arkham games. People love Marvel Rivals. The new Marvel fighting game has been getting a lot of traction. It's not even out yet. People love consuming superhero shit. They just don't like the comics. The comics are the problem, right? It's like, if I can I want to enjoy Superman and Batman or Spider-Man and a Captain America, but I don't want to have to pick up a modern American comic book to do that, which is just so, I don't know, it says a lot. It says a lot about the state of American comic books, where people want to experience, they want to consume superhero shit. They just don't want to have to go to the medium that superhero shit comes from in order to do it.
Either one of these people have said some variation of.
Solid Seth, thank you for $5. The only reason I know about Blerd is because of you, so screw you, and thanks for your content. Hey, thank you, buddy. Seg162, thank you for $5. Never ask a white supremacist the race of their GF or their own father. Oh, you'd be very shocked. Very shocking. A lot of 23. There are so many white supremacists. Well, not whites. I keep using the word because now this motherfucker's put it in my head. There are so many white nationalist types or white nationalist adjacent types who have these little mini movements going on, who the whole ship would sink if they showed their 23andMe. Well, okay, maybe not, because that hasn't been the case for Nick Fuentes at all. Like, him being Mexican, his grandfather literally being a immigrant from Mexico does not bother like any of his followers at all. Him being pro birthright citizenship. Nick Fuentes, the anti-immigrant guy, is pro birthright citizenship because he wouldn't exist without it, right? Literally, he is an anchor baby, right? It's like Vivek Ramaswamy, he is just like a generation removed from being a Vivek himself. So he is pro birthright citizenship. But his followers, they aren't bothered by shit like that. Ha 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 ha. Thank you for the $2. His background is his credentialism. Oh yeah, bro. Look at all the shit he's got on his wall. Look at all these, look at how much I've been consuming. That's how you know I'm a professional when it comes to this comic book shit. Jefferson C. Post, thank you for $2. Put the non-political takes in the bag. It's too much to ask. It's too much to ask to just get your content culture war free these days. I don't even mind if you talk about politics, but can you talk about something that's not just identity politics? Please. Can we just mix it up a little bit? Bear Sad, thank you for $4.99. I'll never understand how these people never get tired from talking about this shit over and over again. It has to be tiring. That's why I'm not gonna lie, I have, especially back in the day when I was younger, especially when I was keeping up with a lot of the sector shit, right? In the mid-10s, I want to say. Well, not sector, the skeptic shit, right? I was keeping up with a lot of dudes from the skeptic era, especially the Sargonite era, you want to call it? Sargonian era, let's call it that, right? So I did consume quite a bit of identity politics shit, but even back then, I got tired. Like, that shit gets exhausting after a while, dude. It's like, I can't, you can only talk about the culture war for so long, but I guess not, right? Because somebody like the Quartering became a millionaire off of it. Well, he used to be a millionaire. Maybe he still is, I don't know. But you know, I don't understand how people can just not only talk about it, but consume it every single day. Like, Jesus Christ. Project Libertad, thank you for $2. Modern day cape shit comics feel like tax write-offs. That's kind of like what they are. I heard somebody saying it. You know who said this? You know who said this very, very brilliant analogy I'm about to give you? It was your boy Zach. I remember him once saying, I don't remember what video it was. He probably deleted it along with all the other thousands of videos he's scrubbed off the internet forever. He said that modern DC and Marvel treat their comics like IP sharecropping farms, essentially. Like, they exist to keep the IPs in circulation and occasionally to generate new characters that can be adapted into media. So when, you know, copyright catches up and some of these characters become public domain, they have new storylines and new characters that producers and game developers and whatnot will be able to adapt in the future. That's basically the main purpose that they serve. Because even the comic book industry seems to understand, well, maybe not the comic book industry, but DC and Warner Bros. Seem to have the attitude that superhero comics are worst experienced as comic books. They're best experienced as movies and TV shows, in video games, etc. Now, I don't believe this. I believe that comics actually are. It actually is a very beautiful medium, as exemplified by the Japanese, by the French, by Belgians, by pretty much every other comic book industry except for North America. Well, I say North America. I specifically mean the United States and Canada. But you know, you get what I'm saying. But that's how they feel.
That, and that's what they want. And for me, while I do talk about comics and I do like, you know, primers, you know, explainers.
Yes, I do read comics. I read quite a few.
Explainers, whatever you want to call them.
And when I say comics, right, because there are a lot of people who they want to make a big division between comics and web comics and manga, or, you know, manhua, or whatever, from whatever. I call all of that shit as comics, right? Here's the thing. The average person is a fan of comics. Even if you don't watch anime or read manga, if you liked like some funny strip comic from a newspaper, or there's like a cartoonist you follow on Twitter or Reddit or Blue Sky or whatever, you are a fan of comics. You are a fan of the medium of making funny pictures and telling stories with them. You probably just like, you think you don't like comics because DC and Marvel have completely raped the North American comic book industry to death. It have let it be colonized by foreign comic books. But, you know, everybody actually does like comics, whether they realize it or not.
I talk about them from a very different angle. Like, Rob doesn't bring his political beliefs into it. And I think that's probably why he thinks he knows my political beliefs so well, because it's kind of one of those things. I wear them on my sleeve. I'm very open about it. I don't really give a shit. Who knows? I'm a leftist. That's not a surprise.
Wow.
I think to
Yeah, it wasn't a surprise.
anybody. Not a liberal, mind you. I hate liberals.
You're gonna vote. Who are you gonna vote for then, nigga? I hate it when fucking progressives and leftists do this. I'm not a liberal. I hate liberal. Okay, who did you vote for last election? Who did you vote for in the election before that? Who are you going to vote for in the coming election? Oh, the Democratic candidate? That's who you're going to vote for? You're going to vote Democrat? You're going to vote straight blue on literally every single ballot, really? All across the ballot. Just, you're going to vote for whoever has a D by their name? Okay, you're on the same side as the liberals, nigga, okay? You know, I'll say this about, like, Nick Fuentes and his groypers. At least they don't. It's very gay how they did it, but at least they're like, fuck MAGA, fuck Trump. We're not voting. We're taking our vote and we're withholding our vote until we can do something about Zog and all these other Jewish controlled politics. At least they actually stood on business. Progressives and leftists will do all this fucking song and dance about we're not coming out to vote if you don't, and then they all vote D anyway. Okay, dude, whatever.
The fucking worst. But I am a leftist. And in all that entails. And you know, if people have a problem with that, then they have a problem with that. I'm not gonna sit here and be like,
well, I say withholding votes. It's like they were actually shilling for the Democrat candidate.
ooh,
Which is why people keep saying that Nick Fuentes is controlled opposition. If Nick Fuentes was just like, I'm not going to vote for anybody, okay, that'd be whatever. Because Eric July said that too. Eric July is like, why would I vote in this election when nobody is going to represent my interests, right? Which is very fair. Nick doesn't do that. Nick says, I'm not going to vote for Trump, and then he fucking shills for Kamala, or he shills for Gavin Newsom. And okay, why would you want, okay, so you went from you won't vote for Trump because you feel like he doesn't represent your interests. Okay, that's fair. Why would you then shill for Kamala or Gavin Newsom, who not only don't represent your interests, they're in complete opposition of every single interest you claim to have? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Want anyone to know what it is I think? No, I talk about it all the time. Especially if you tune in for like the Nerds of Culture streams on Thursdays. I like to go into the political analysis, the social commentary, you know, and all
social commentary. That's all it is, bro. It's so basic, bro. If you say you talk about politics, but all you ever do is talk about, so at least with Hassan, at least even Hassan will talk about some geopolitical shit about Venezuela, about the Middle East. He usually doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about like 99% of the time, but at least he does talk about politics in like a broader general area outside of just Idpol. Dudes like this are very one-dimensional, and they act like, this is an amazing thumbnail, they act like they actually know what the fuck they're talking about when they really, really don't. All right, we're gonna save that. I'm gonna put that away for later. Quiet Rioter, thank you for $5. Yellow Flash was my exit from the culture war. You can only hear the same takes about everything so many times before you realize this is gay. Hey, that's fair. Dave, thank you for the £5. I stopped listening to Sargon era political people when I realized that they hadn't actually read any of the stuff they were referencing. Well, you know what? I'll give this to Sargon. He did eventually read the books after he got blown the fuck out, right? After he became a national lolcow for the British Isles, he decided to finally go back and read the literature, right? And he became super big brained, and he has this very successful podcast, White Lotus, that's made him super big money, right? So good on Sargon for finally learning how to read. Jefferson C. Post, thank you for $2. I read comics at the checkout rack in Bradley's, which is how comics used to be. You know when comics went bad? You know what actually killed comics? Well, it was actually a lot of things. I'm not going to act like it was literally just one thing. It's like, even the people who were like, identity politics are what's killing comics. Even that isn't true. Was actually one of the main things that killed comics is that you can't find them in grocery stores anymore, right? Even if they're at Walmart, but only a few of them are at Walmart, and you got to go to like a certain section where they're hidden from the public eyes, like they're hidden behind the baseball and Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards and shit like that. They don't even want you to see them. Like Walmart's a shame they even stock fucking comic books. There used to be a time you could find comics just like in a bin, you know, at the grocery store, at the liquor store, just like in public, like where you could buy newspapers, at a gas station, you could buy comics. When you had to go to a fucking comic book shop and that was the only place where comic books could be found, well, okay, that stopped comics from being a general medium, because who the fuck is going to a comic book shop? What, you're gonna drop your kids off at a comic book shop so they can read some? No, bro. Like, you gotta go to where normies are. Comic books aren't where normies are, which is why superhero shit is popular only when it's in movies and TV shows and video games, because that's where the normies are. The normies are playing the Arkham games. The normies are watching the Marvel and DC movies. The normies are, you know, they're watching the TV shows and shit like that. They're watching the Penguin. Right? They aren't at a fucking comic book shop. They aren't going to conventions and shit. I'm sorry. You got to meet them halfway if you want comics to become a popular medium again.
That's why Rob and I are very different. That's why I say that, like, you know, people try to say, oh, you're trying to steal his audience. No, my audience is...
Yes, love thy enemies. They lost the 8-year-old bugging mom at the checkout audience. Yes, they did. Right? Like, little Tommy won't leave his mom the fuck alone. She sees a Batman or Superman or Spider-Man comic. She's like, here, you little motherfucker, read this and let me think for 2 minutes, right? They lost that and they haven't recovered since.
My audience, and they come to me because they want those things I offer. If they don't want them,
they lost the audience of like, dad went to the supermarket to buy some shit and he came back and he brought a Wolverine comic, an X-Men comic, just because it was right next to where the cigarettes were. They lost that audience, and you know, until they get that audience back, American comics are never coming back.
Those things, they would go to Rob, and those people who are already there.
This is why the Brightwisers are still some of the biggest grifters in the history of Comicsgate, which is saying a lot, bro. Like, imagine being MVP grifters in Comicsgate, but they hold the fuck out of their backers. But they had the right idea when it came to putting their comics in places where people would find them. Like, I'm gonna put them on a rack where some mom or some dad who's just shopping for groceries with their kids, shopping for socks, might walk past this and decide to buy it for their kids, right? They had the right idea with that. It's just a shame that they couldn't get the books out on time because they're CG royalty and they can't fucking deliver a book at a deadline for shit.
Rob, I'm pretty sure they don't want to fuck with me. I think it was kind of funny because I actually saw a couple of different videos.
Kids do want to read, bro. What do you mean, do kids want to read? Kids do want to read. That's why they're on social media. That's why they're reading manga. Kids want to read. They just don't want to read the shit that, you know. Well, let me put it this way. There was this idea, which is very, I don't know, this is legitimately sexist. I don't want to get on some manosphere, MGTOW, you know, type shit, but this was very sexist towards men, especially young men, where the literature industry, novel industry in America, they really were convinced, and still are to a degree, that young men just aren't interested in reading anything, right? That's why all of the books, it's fine that all of the books are catered towards women, because young men don't want to read anyway. This is not true. Young men do want to read. They just don't want to read all this fucking softcore erotica and female-centered YA, you know, all these female love triangles and set in dystopias that are made for women. Young boys don't want to read shit like that. They want to read shit like pulp novels. You got to bring back shit like Conan the Barbarian and stuff like that. That's the sort of stuff that young men would love to read. and they stop stalking that. If you go to certain websites, right, you like Royal Road or places like that, there are tons of like, those things are super geared towards male audiences and shit, because that's where boys want to read. So yes, of course, people want to read, kids want to read. You just gotta give them the shit that they are interested in. They don't understand. You can't force people to, you can give people something that they didn't realize that they wanted and then they'll be into it. But something that people expressly don't want or just are uninterested in, you're never going to force them to be into that thing.
There was a live stream, actually there's two. There were two live streams that Rob did. One of them I actually got to screen capture. The other one mysteriously vanished. But it was one I actually watched. But he kind of repeated a lot of it in other places, and take that however you want. But I did find it interesting that some of the ones that he did, in some cases, mischaracterizing what I said about him, because I when he was talking to Saros, it was funny to me because one of the things they kept harping on was how I was trying to police what it was that he did on his channel. And I think I distinctly remember saying in the video that I released,
you literally said that he didn't like being black. That's what you literally said. You went to his channel and you said that I don't think that I don't think Rob likes being black.
I didn't care what he did on his channel. I think I might have like passingly said, could he cover more black characters? Sure, but I mean,
that's what you said. That's what you said. He doesn't like, wait, what was it again? Fuck, I forgot what the name of the label is for all those black characters that are sort of kind of connected to DC but not really, with Static Shock. Well, not Static Shock, his name is actually Static, but with Static and Icon in them. You got on him for not talking about them more, and you also said that he doesn't even like being black.
We do not care.
Rob could literally say, I'm covering white characters exclusively from now until the heat.
You would 100% make a video about it or talk about it on stream. You're lying out your fucking teeth right now, bro.
Death of the universe.
If you didn't actually care, you wouldn't have made that video in the first place. I hate when people say I don't care while actively being in the process of caring a whole lot.
I would not care. And the main reason why is because
Brendan Fraser, thank you for the $10. The identity politics crowd are psyoped, useful idiots. They serve the elites to distract from the real issues. They also help sow further division in the people. I used to think this was a conspiracy theory. And then, the Epstein files came out and we were like, oh, this is actually a thing. Because I know that this has been a thing before throughout history, right? There are people who fund dissidents in other countries to cause problems. The Marxists used to do this a lot. I didn't think that Jeffrey Epstein and like his associates were actually doing it with culture war shit not to that extent, at least. It was actually kind of crazy. But yeah, we live in a world of psyops, and demoralization campaigns all the time, right? There's a demoralization war going on to tear you down, tear me down, tear all of us down. That's why you got to keep your chin out. Don't let them take your soul. Don't let them kill your spirit, right? The minute you actually give in to the demoralization and you say that it's over, then it is, and they win, and they get to fucking rape everybody as much as they want. Never let the demoralization win. Remember that, everybody. Quiet Rioter, thank you for $5. If you have to ask your audience to do homework, you've lost any growth. Wrestling and comics are the same in that regard. Well, you know what? At least wrestling, they put on a show every time, no matter how fresh the audience is. They'll always come to put on a show. They don't ask you to, with comic books, and this is something that big tube fans, because I always have to I hate the fact that I even have to do this. I hate the fact that I always have to come out and clarify when I'm talking about American comics, the difference between people who are just fans of superhero comics and the big two and general comic book fans in America who like indie shit, who like foreign shit or whatever, because those are two different audiences. And honestly, the latter really does outnumber the greater, right? As we saw with Invincible, right? There actually is a very big audience of people. The same thing with Walking Dead. There is a big audience of people. Well, the same thing with something like There's Something Wrong with the Children. There is this big untapped audience in North America that wants to read comics that aren't just superhero cape shit that we just ignore, because if that audience became the mainstream, well, then Marvel and DC would be fucked, because that's all they have to offer, right? It's like, what do you mean you don't want chili dogs? All we offer is chili dogs. What you mean you want hamburgers and steaks and tacos? All we got is chili dogs. We can't let I don't know, fucking quesadillas become the main meal of type in the United States. We got to keep this a chili dog industry, even if that means the industry is very small. So I actually forgot what the question was. Oh yeah, I hate when comic book guys, they always try, and they're kind of disingenuous. They say that you can just pick up a comic and start from wherever. You don't have to read all this lore. You don't have to do all this research in order to get into a comic. That is so fucking untrue. It is so untrue that you can just pick up a superhero comic from Marvel or DC at any point and not be confused. Like, it's actively in contradiction with the way that these comic book stories, the way they tell their stories, right? Maybe something like Absolute Batman, which was literally built from the ground up to get in new readers for like DC. Maybe that, but generally speaking, no, you can't just pick up any issue of X-Men or fucking the Justice League or whatever and know what's going on. You don't. You have to do research first. It is not like manga, right? First off, nobody who reads manga would ever say, yeah, man, you want to read Naruto? Start at volume 22. Just go ahead, bro. It doesn't matter. You'll be able to keep up. No, you won't. You would not be able to keep up with Naruto if you start at like volume 30. There are like dozens and dozens of characters and all these plot elements going on that you don't know what the fuck it is, right? You'll be so fucking confused, and they understand this. But comic book fans, they've been so like brainwashed and butt broken and raped mentally, of course, that they don't even understand. They don't even understand how disingenuous they're being. Anyway, thank you for the $5, Quiet Rider. I went on a tangent there. Maj Jen, thank you for $5. Idpol and misunderstanding of men/women spending have ruined entertainment. I won't deny my madness from Culture War. The trees speak theory. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure, thank you for $5, bro. I haven't seen Evan comment on your CG documentary yet. We all know that he watched it. He's too scared of getting mobbed in the comments like last time. You know, I'll say this about Ethan. I'm very proud of him for never deleting that original comment that he made on my documentary. He could have, but he decided, no, I'm just gonna take it. I know he turned off notifications for the comment. He had to. It was because it was like months, literally just months of somebody just coming in and tapping that ass again. So, you know, big ups on him for just taking that ass beating underneath my comment section. Joe Music, thank you for $2. Mikey, the Bleach slander, gotta stop, bro. Never. I will continue slandering Bleach. Hey, I'll tell you this about Bleach. Bleach, from chapter 1 to the end of the Soul Society arc, legit quality, high quality, like top 10. If Kubo would have, I don't know, I would not wish this on Kubo. I hope he lives another 50 fucking years or whatever. I hope he lives over 100. But if he had died the moment that last chapter of the Soul Society arc was published, Bleach would have gone down, in my opinion. It's like top 10 shonen of all time. All my problems with Bleach come from everything that happened after that chapter, honestly. Brian Isaac, thank you for $5. Bring back the cheap pocket-sized novels like the Louis Lamar, I cannot pronounce French names. Western novels or the novels from Ray Bradbury. See, I know how you pronounce, I don't know how you pronounce the name. I am familiar with the names because I see these novels every time I go to Barnes and Noble every fucking time, right? Those novels are still popular. People would still come and read those.
I'm not subscribed to Rob. I don't see his videos, like, ever.
Then
What?
why do you care? Hold up. Wait. What?
Because I'm not subscribed to Rob. I don't see his videos.
Why did you make that original fucking video then about a dude whose content you don't even fucking watch? Why do you even care? Okay, so you don't know about his content. You don't watch his content. You literally didn't pay attention. Okay, so this was literally just your fucking poison brain, and you just clout chasing. That's all this was. You just went after him for very, very petty reasons. Because at least if you were a disgruntled fan or peer, okay, that'd be something. You don't give a fuck about this dude's content at all. You just wanted to take a shot at him because you feared like he didn't share your politics, which isn't even true. He shares like at least 80% of your politics, but that's not enough. Man, this is why you never appeal to people like this. People like this, they're insufferable no matter what. Nothing will ever be enough. You just have to, they're like the Borg. You're either part of the Borg or you're not. Anything else is unacceptable.
Like, ever.
You gotta be with the tribe or you're not. Anything else, you're a problem.
Like, I have to go looking for them. I just don't need what Rob offers because I read comics. I don't need anybody to spoon feed me a story about a comic. I've already read it or am about to read it myself if it's something new. So yeah, it's what he has to offer is not of any value to me. The thing, and this has always been the thing, is that he seemed to not think it was that big of a deal to be following two of the most virulent racist ever in the history of our internet.
Wow, that is insane. That is genuinely Let's hear that again.
Following two of them.
Okay, so before we even, I just want to remind people, for people who are just listening to that, and you're like, who is he talking about? Like, who is he talking about? David Duke? He is talking about Critical Drinker in Nerdrotic when he says this.
He seemed to not think it was that big of a deal to be following two of the most virulent racist ever in the history of our internet.
Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are two of the most virulent racist. You would think these two are fucking sig-hailing in every single video. Every single video is just top to bottom filled with dog whistles. They're just, they're naming the small hats. They're naming the tribes. They're talking about race realism and shit like that. They're talking about how we need to remigration. We need to like strip citizens, American citizens who aren't white of their citizenship, even if they're here legally. We just need to we need a final solution for like every ethnic group in America that isn't white. You would think they'd be talking about that instead of just saying, this movie's kind of woke. That's all it takes for people like this guy. People like this guy, you said something was woke. You're now David Duke. Even David Duke, I wouldn't say is a virulent racist. Like, goddamn. Like, that's crazy. Virulent racist, you gotta like have a swastika carved into your chest and have like assaulted a black person or some shit. You would have had to do some like crazy. I feel like you have to at least commit one hate crime to be a virulent racist. Like, goddamn, dude.
And people who have been, I would say, 99.99999% of the reason why the comic space on the internet has been an absolute cesspool. Even worse, knowing with information that
the reason why the comic book community on YouTube is such a cesspool is because American comics are just shit. Like, straight up. Like, they're just, I won't say that they're all shit, obviously, because nothing is ever all shit. Somebody's cool, right? Like, there are some cool people. There were some cool people in Nazi Germany. There are some cool people in Israel right now, I'm sure, right? But it's like the American comic book industry, largely speaking, is just like dog shit, dog water, got outsold by a single manga in like, what year was it, 2020? Demon Slayer outsold or nearly outsold the entire DC and Marvel combined. right? Like, it's shit. So of course it's gonna be bad because everybody who's talking about it are just shills who are just they're just like comic explain, where they're just talking about lore because nobody's actually interested in the story of these dog shit comics. Or there are people like your boy Zach, or how he used to be, where they're just shitting on the comics all the time. That's the only thing you can do with this industry.
Has come out recently that the whole like comics gate and all the people that you are in the comic scene who are spreading all this hateful rhetoric, it's all like an Epstein psyop.
What is Epstein? Okay, see how he's showing shit, right? So he's showing all of this stuff, and this is supposed to show us, look how evil these people are. Look how racist and bigoted they are. It's like Star Wars is gay. Star Wars is a little bit gay these days.
Apparently. So that just makes it even more weird that he thinks that listening to these people, offers any merit. But I tell you what, this is what I want to do. I actually want to show you guys something.
I had a debate. It wasn't really a debate. Like, I had a little tuffle with a dude, and it was like a very quick exchange. And basically, I said something in response to him, and he said something. I don't even remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, I already know all the facts, so I know that you're just a gaslighter, so I'm not even going to listen to you. And I'm like, how do you even know that I'm wrong then? You aren't even checking to say if the things I'm saying are factual. You're just like presuming from the get-go that I'm wrong about everything and that you're objectively right about everything. You shut your eyes and closed your ears, right? Put your hands over your ears and shit, going la la la, so you can't hear anything that I'm going to say to you. And you're just like, I don't know, what can I say then? You're already presumed to be right. And it's just like shit like this. This guy is like, you think that those guys have anything of worth to say. Just his worldview is 100% objectively correct no matter what. You can't tell this guy literally anything because he won't let anything in, because he's already decided that everything that he believes is 100% true. I don't even know how you get to that point, right? I don't know how you get to a point where you fundamentally just reject critical thinking. Like, critical thinking is not allowed.
Something. This is actually a video clip that a friend of the channel, Dane of Actual Fandom, put together. See,
this is a guy who, like, all of the psyops and demoralization campaigns that we go through on a day-to-day basis, they worked on this guy. He doesn't even realize it. He doesn't even realize how cooked his brain is. They have succeeded. They have put all these ideas into his head, and they have successfully gotten him to shut off. Like, anytime anybody tries to say anything, try to give him any sort of dissenting opinion, even if it's in a very gentle way, he instinctively shuts everything down. Everything. It's like, no, you're wrong. You're evil. You're racist. You're bigoted. You're trying to kill minorities and rape them or something, and everything just, all the shutters just close. This is what they're aiming. 100% success rate with people like Ernie. They want to do this to everybody, right? Now, somebody like Rob, they partially got Rob, but unfortunately for them, Rob is he's one of the most dangerous creatures in America. He's a black man who grew up with a father. So his father instilled with him, hey, listen, Rob, even if you disagree with someone, you should still always at least try and humor their ideas, because they might be right about something that you're wrong about. They might have at least one point. So Rob is like, okay, I'll at least listen to people I don't agree 100% on everything with, just in case I might be wrong about something, right? So the programming doesn't completely work on people like this, right? Ernie, right? Somebody like Ernie, he has no defense mechanism, probably because he didn't grow up with a dad.
It basically kind of makes my point about the two people who he follows, who Rob thinks their opinions have some merit. After this clip, I want you to seriously think about whether or not you think there's any value in following people like this. Like really check whether or not you believe you need people like this to keep you on the
Dave, thank you for the £2. Once Ichigo beat Byakuya with hollow BS, I was out. Really? I mean, I guess Well, look, the reason you got to think about the reason why he beat him with the, I mean, technically he didn't beat him with the hollow BS. He was about to. And then he's like, no, I'm actually not going to let the hollow side win. I'm not going to let the hollow side of me take this W. I'm going to be the dude who's going to beat Byakuya. And he tore apart the mask. And then he beat him based on his own merit, even though, you know, the hollow part did like do a lot of the work for him and shit like that. So I don't know. I thought it was well done, but you got to think again. Kubo, he knew from the get-go what he was going to be doing with that hollow shit. And it's actually, when you think about it, right? Here's the thing. Saying that Kubo made shit as he went along, you know, just like Akira Toriyama, basically, he admitted that he was just making shit up as he went along. The reason why saying that Kubo made shit up as he went along is actually very nice for Kubo, is that it excuses the bad execution of shit. Because, okay, so you planned on Ichigo being an octoroon who was like a quarter of everything in this universe from the get-go. Why did you fucking convey that throughout the storyline so badly? Like, that's my problem with the 1,000-year blood arc, is that there's too much. If it was just one thing, if it was just the big war, we should have gotten all these fucking, we should have gotten all of these big revelations about Ichigo's origins throughout the earlier arcs. Doing all this shit inside the final arc, and there's also this big war arc going on with all these dozens of other characters, including like 20 fucking characters, 50 characters you made for this arc alone. That shit is too much. It's just too, I'm sorry, it is. Garfield's Bizarre Adventure, thank you for $5. Off topic, would you make a video on Taro the Pirate, faithful of Stolas, the Styx Hexenhammer 666? Last I heard, he was on a run from the cops. Yes, I probably will, because I'm looking at it like this. If I don't make a documentary about Styx, who will, right? Because Styx, that's fucking, I don't know, bro. That's, I think somebody will eventually make a documentary on Styx if I didn't, but I feel like they wouldn't be able to do it like me because they haven't been paying attention to Styx the way that I have throughout the years, right? Because, I don't know, he's not really part of the sector, but I always considered him like sector adjacent, skeptic adjacent figure, right? He was one of those dudes who back during Nick Fuentes's Bloodsport days, when he was a kill stream roadie, basically, when he used to orbit around Ethan Ralph, back when Ralph was actually that dude, and you had all these other E-celebs who were orbiting around him and linking up with him, right? He was one of those dudes who debated Nick Fuentes. Styx was. So it'll probably be. I got to get something else out the way before I get there. Hopefully, Carl doesn't die or get arrested too soon. So, you know, I'll have some more content to get through before I get there. Majin, thank you for $2. Dogfella has more cultural relevance than Maine 2.
Quotey Finger's Side of the Angels.
I'm not a racist. And it turns out the villain of the Watchmen is going to be, and this is going to be a shocker to you.
See, this is what I'm talking about, right? So no offense to Nerdrotic, but bro, this is too much. I understand this is your hobby. You actually, it's not just for the decor. It's partially the decor, but this is your hobby. You actually do love this shit. But I don't know, bro. Like, this is not a masculine way to waste money. A masculine way to waste money is to get drunk and then gamble it all on black. That's what it is, right? A masculine way to waste money is to go to the races, bet your fucking house on a horse who comes in last place. That's a masculine way to waste money. This consumerism shit, I don't know, dude.
Oh, I know. I hope you're all sitting down. White supremacy.
Well, a lot of people, they understand that this isn't something to be shown, but when you got YouTubers, they use this as a set. I'm sorry, this isn't a set. You just putting all your toys and shit in the background, it's not a set, guys. I'm sorry.
See.
Why is that a problem?
Oh, he's an ex-druggie. Okay, so he did waste his money in him. Okay, so never mind. this is like, all right, you know, I take that back then. I consider this, it's like when somebody gets off meth by getting on, somebody gets off heroin by getting on crack, or somebody stops becoming a chain smoker by just like vaping all day, right? They had to wean themselves from one addiction with another addiction. Okay, he used to be a junkie, he had to throw that away, and he became, you know, a consumer man. Okay, you know, that's fair.
I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist.
Is this supposed to make him racist? Like, can you not make fun? Is racism just when you make fun of a black person? Is that all it is? Because what is he saying racist? He's not calling her a nigger. Like, what is this? He's just like making fun of her. He's just like having her do a funny face. See, he has this white dude over here making a funny face too. Is he racist towards other white people?
I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist.
There are white people in these thumbnails too. Like, what? Why is it not? So you literally just can't say anything negative about black people at all, or else you'll be a racist. He's making fun of white people, Jewish people, Latinos, Asians, black. He's making fun of everybody. This is like the opposite of racism.
Now you look like one.
Hey, despite having some reservations, Marvel went ahead with their big gamble. Because there wasn't enough diverse women in this film, we get cameos from King, Valkyrie, and non-binary. With all the identity politics, and sure, you've heard me and
How is any of this proven that he's racist? See, this is how you know this dude's mind is just broken. This dude's mind, it's just been terrorized. It's just been completely just corrupted. He doesn't even know what the thing that he hates really looks like. He doesn't know what true racism looks like. He really doesn't.
many others call out diversity, equity, and inclusion.
If you are somebody and you genuinely think that Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are like the most racist people in the world, you've lived one of the most privileged lives ever, right? You have never ever, you can tell this is a guy who's never been called a nigger to his face before. Even like,
yeah, that's not Supergirl. Listen, I know there's a ton of Supergirls. I know.
he's never been called a moon cricket. He's never been called a monkey or anything.
But that's not that Supergirl.
Yet another.
He's probably never even, Ernie's probably never even been around somebody who's just like wearing Confederate memorabilia. Like they wearing a Confederate flag shirt or a Confederate flag bandana or some shit like that.
Race and gender swapped character.
And I'm not saying that if you wear Confederate flag shit, that makes you racist. Because again, I own a Confederate flag. So, you know, it's like,
From the comics, Dar Ben, who comes off as a soccer mom, created by John Logie Baird, who they did not race swap because the BBC probably didn't have to fill any diversity quotas this episode. A race and gender swapped Robin Hood First Doctor is now a diverse little girl.
Low Tier God is unironically more racist than 95% of the guys that dudes like Ernie pretend are racist. Like, vast majority of the white people, a lot of these leftist YouTubers I see say are the most racist people in the world, Low Tier God has been more racist than them routinely.
Small little diverse girl to play on. Not sure what happened to all the dudes in Wakanda. Maybe they went off to get a pack of Salems and never came back.
Both sides want to stir it up. That is in their best interest.
Low Tier God has been more racist in like a 5-minute clip than Nerdrotic has probably been in his entire career on YouTube.
Because it creates views on the YouTube side and it creates clicks on the website side. But it's very beneficial to them. And yeah, we don't get into that.
I'm not here to blame Moses Ingram.
You know, the thing about Low Tier God too is that even though he is super racist towards black people, I would never call Low Tier God self-hating, because obviously, like, he's just too big of a narcissist. I don't even think I don't even think that Low Tier God categorizes himself with other black people. I think he thinks he's like an ascended form of nigga, right? He's like this Super Saiyan version of nigga. He doesn't even consider, he thinks that like other black people are just lower life forms.
Or criticize the human being. She is simply just
Like, he thinks that Rogs, right? That's what he calls, which I'm admitting that is very funny. The term Rog is actually fucking hilarious. He considers Rog like they're like a different subrace of humans. So they don't even care. When he's talking about these people, he doesn't even think any of this shit applies to him.
an adult pretender who took a
What's funny is that the things that low tier guy says about Rogs, I actually do think that he is right a lot of the time. The thing is, they also apply to him. Like, he's also low tier God. If low tier God was like another person, right? He would call himself a stereotypical Rog. But of course, he's a narcissist, so he doesn't have that self-awareness.
job with the billion-dollar corporation who's using her as a pawn.
because it creates views on the YouTube side.
He's just an adult pretender.
Yeah, we don't get into that
We'll get to who's to blame in just a moment.
because it creates views on the YouTube side. But it's
Why can't you do this all the time? For real, though. Like, okay, we already established, right?
He's using her as a pawn.
because it
We've already established Nerdrotic. He's using all of the action figure shit. It was his way of going clean. Okay, you know, I'm a nerd. What if instead of consuming drugs, I consume nerd shit and I just make that my whole life? So, you know, congratulations on that coping mechanism. But doesn't this just look so much better, right? Like, obviously, you can put like a poster here, put like a superhero poster here, and you can have like a nice little bookshelf with some comics and some action figures, your favorite action figure stacked up here. That would be enough, right? That would be enough. All this shit, it's too much, bro. It's too
Just
much.
an adult pretender who took a job with a billion-dollar corporation who's using her as a pawn.
because it creates views on the YouTube side.
He's just an adult pretender.
Yeah, we don't get into that
We'll get to who's to blame in just a moment.
because it creates views on the YouTube side. But it's very beneficial.
And spoilers, it's not you.
Both sides want to stir it up. It creates views on the YouTube side. It's very beneficial. What happens when things get too big is
See, even this right here is better because I don't know, man. It's like, it's too busy. It's too busy, man. All these action figures on the wall and shit. I don't know. It's just, I'm not trying to be super minimalist or try and tell people how they should live their lives or stuff. It's just aesthetically, it's just very, I don't know, there's just something unappealing to me about having this many toys put up on the wall like they're ants,
too many.
like they're bugs.
I used to call them back in my drug days sponges. Okay, sponges are people who used to sponge on you, and they'd hang around you because you had all the dope or all the
How does any of this prove that Nerdrotic is racist? I still don't understand. I still don't get it.
money.
Does he understand it? It's like he just took some random fucking clips of Nerdrotic talking and he thought it was gonna, like, if I put all these clips together, I put all these screenshots together, people will start thinking that I'm right. No, I do not understand the point you're trying to make here, Ernie.
I'm not a racist.
You pretend to be.
Yeah, it's clutter. It's too cluttered for me. That's the main issue, really.
Yeah.
And this would be a problem with anything, even if it was just like all guns, even if it was just something really masculine, right? All guns, all knives, it would still be too much, man.
For the money, for the glory, mostly for the money.
That's worse than myth.
I'm sorry, but Rob, you're never beating the charges on this one. Now, to be fair, Rob claims that he doesn't follow them on anything but Twitter. He says he doesn't follow them on YouTube or
He probably asked an AI to put clips together for it. Probably.
whatever. I mean, whatever, dude. We can believe that or not believe that. I don't really care. But I do think it's funny that that is somehow.
No, barely dare. You can decor your see, I'll admit this. Ernie's setup in the back, it's actually better. It's more elegant, right? It's got some degree of design. He just doesn't just have like action figures cluttering up and just piling on his walls and shit and his shelves and whatnot. He actually has some structure going on about here. It's probably the only good thing about this motherfucker's videos is that he actually has like this thing in order, which gives me the idea that he didn't actually do this. He probably has somebody else decorate it for him.
That somehow is harm reduction. Because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. It's not like they don't post their videos and views on social media to some degree or another.
Yeah, why does he have a Common Rider shirt? There are no fucking black people. There are no niggas in Common Rider.
Whether it's in clips or whatever. So, and I don't know.
I guess it's like anime gets a pass. Anime gets a pass for not having any niggas in it.
think the idea of
And even then it doesn't, right? Because niggas will, well, maybe it's mostly like a Twitter phenomenon where you just have these black anime fans. I'm fucking putting quote signs in the air. Black anime fans, quote unquote, who they make a big stir about there not being enough representation in anime. It's not like the majority, but quite a sizable number of these activist types on Twitter do this shit. And it's like, Japan is a homogenous, ethnically Japanese country, right? It's like 99% Asian. So I don't know what you want them to do.
just saying that, oh, it's not that big a deal, I follow him. Here's the thing.
Literally, you could take every black person who's currently in Japan and you could probably fit them in the same apartment complex, low key.
You're trying, he keeps trying to equate them to be like, oh, it's like watching CNN and watching Fox News. And it's like, no, that's not what this is. You're trying to, both sides, virulent, rabid racism, because that's all they have to offer.
You didn't show us a single fucking like, bro literally went through how long was that shit, right? How long was that shit? Okay, so it was 10:40. When did he start? He started there at around, so was that like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes worth of clips? And you didn't show us a single fucking clip or screenshot that proved what you're saying about them being racist. You don't know what racism is, Ernie, because your mind is raped. You are the raped, bro. You are like, you're a victim. You don't even realize that you've been victimized.
They are even very open and honest about the fact that they're grifters. So why?
And they want to make more Ernies, right? Like this guy, what these people do, I say these people, and see, here's the thing, right? I say these people will be like, well, who is they? It's like, nigga, obviously the group of people who I'm alluding to. What you want me to say, Jews or some shit like that? It's not just Jews, even though there are some Jews who do this. Obviously, it's been proven. It's been proven in the Epstein file that there are, in fact, Jews who are a part of this. But there are also, you know, non-Jewish people, black people, Asian people who are also part of the problem. And they're trying to buck break as many people as possible and turn them into as many Ernies as they can.
The hell do you think there's anything they could say that has any fucking merit? Like, I'm sorry.
Because you can't tell this dude anything. This dude is like, he's part of the program and he's never going to get off the program ever. He's going to die really thinking that he is, that Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker are the most racist, evil people in existence. And he will never be convinced otherwise.
Dude, this is cooked. And then, to address that little video that he put out the other day, which I'm going to go and keep it a buck with you, all that little 16-minute video was, and I actually thought about going through it line by line, but I'm not, because honestly, I watched the 1.5 hour long video he did with Saros. I actually have watched it twice now. I watched it, once just at length, and then I watched it a second time, like sped up by like ×2 because it was fucking long and it was a lot of nothing. But he just repeats a lot of the same things that are in that Saros interview. I mean, almost word for word, almost as if it were.
Oh, you mean he's consistent? You mean he has the exact same things to say to the same questions because he's consistent and he didn't just like switch it up? Like what is this?
Practice. And I saw where he
practice? Maybe his mind just didn't change. Maybe he just feels the same way.
I was gonna light him up. I was gonna call him everything but a child of God. But here's the thing, what are you gonna call me? What were you going? I'm actually very curious to know. I almost messaged him to be like, hey man, what were you going to call me? Because I don't think there's really.
Well, he's not going to call you anything because again, Rob shares 80% of your politics. So he's like a left-leaning guy. He may think that he's like a moderate left guy, but I don't know. He comes off as just a regular liberal. See, I would just call you a faggot. I would just call you, how dare you fucking put my name in your mouth, you leftist faggot. Shut the fuck. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Saying that I hate being black, calling me a coon. That's another thing that he forgot. This dude completely just forgot that he called Rob a coon. He called him a coon and he said that he doesn't like being black. And then he was shocked that Rob had a problem with him and that all of Rob's fans had a problem with him? Well, it's because you're a bitch, bro. You fucking throw stones and then you pretend like, why are you mad at me? I just fucking threw rocks at you and then hit my hand. It's because you're a bitch, bro. You're a faggot.
Anything you can call me. I mean, not that would hurt my feelings or anything. I mean, I think anything negative you could say about me would probably be either a lie or a very huge stretch of the truth. And that would be just at best. Because for the most part, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but I mean, I don't follow virulent racist. I don't follow or endorse.
You just falsely call people racist. Like, literally, he's lying on people. Bro just spent this entire video, the better part of this video, and the better part of the last video, just lying his ass off about people. And he doesn't even realize it. He doesn't even realize how far gone his mind is because he's such a casualty of these culture war psyops, right?
Anti-Semites or...
Oh, now they're anti-Semitic too. You know, it's interesting how he decided to, like, I don't know, differentiate those two. Because people can't decide whether or not Jews are a race. People are still, they're very, like, indecisive about that. Are Jews a race or not? Now, the answer is no. Jews are not a race. I don't even fully believe that Jews are an ethnic group, to be for real, right? Because it's like, I don't know, you got, like, these Jews that come from different origins, not just in, I mean, I guess you could say they all come from the same place, but do they? Because you got these beta Israeli Jews from Ethiopia. You got these Jews from Europe. You got these Jews from the Arabic Peninsula and shit like that. You got Jews from North Africa, right? It's like they have these different sub-ethnic groups that all make up like the Jewish people and the tribe, right? Like, it's like you got these different tribes that come together into one greater tribe. So I don't know. I feel like you can be black and be Jewish. You can be white and be Jewish. You can be an Arab and be Jewish. I don't know. Jew isn't a race, even though some of them like to pretend like they are for a very convenient reason sometimes. Mostly the white ones because they can get away with it. Black Jews can't do that. Ethiopian Jews, they can't. Well, maybe they can in Africa. Ethiopian Jews in Africa probably can pretend, right? They can say, well, look, I'm black just as much as the rest of you. I'm just Jewish. They probably can go, well, technically, I'm not black. I'm Jewish, and I just happen to look like other black people from the Horn of Africa. So maybe, I don't know, it depends on where they're at. NTR Uncle, thank you for $5. Gary has an excuse. He literally has an addictive personality. He talked about how he almost died from it numerous times. Okay, so, all right, so maybe I will give him a pass for real, because it seems like he's one of the only guys who just has an excuse for his consumerism. That, and he makes a lot of money, so it's not like he's blowing it in anything important. Well, then again, we say the same thing about the quartering. Well, the quartering probably is way worse at managing money than Gary is, though. Because you gotta think, Gary spends all this money on toys. Quartering is out here building mansions in the middle of the woods, making his own RC racetracks for himself. His wife has planes. He's buying saltwater fish tanks. He's fucking buying modded cyber trucks and shit, making a second. Like, he's extending the size of his garage because he's buying even more cars, buying watches that are the cheapest is still in the upper 5 figures and shit like that. So I don't know. He probably is, but it's hard to be worse at managing money than Jeremy Hambly. Jeremy the Lesser. Gwimmin, thank you for $20. Based, thank you, man. SB0322, thank you for $2. Blerd has a gamer head dent. Yes, he does.
You
just like Review Tech USA. There's some people who are just dented from birth.
LG.
Those are the people who they have no chance. A guy like this has no chance against the programming. He will fall for every, holy shit, those teeth. I did not notice that at first. Holy shit, look at them chompers, buddy. You would think this nigga was British. You would think he was from London Tan with those fucking chompers, bro. Look at that. Holy shit. Just bong maxing with a mouth like that. About to colonize India with a mouth like that. Holy shit, dude. About to send the Boers to South Africa and then go to South Africa to fucking oppress the Boers that you sent there. With a mouth like that.
BTQA plus people, I am it's not a thing. So I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to know.
Oi, Governor Maxing with a mouth like that.
What it was he thought he could have said that would have been so bad. What was he gonna call me? Like a radical leftist scum?
You are. That's it. Oh, maybe he takes pride in that.
I mean, I would have brushed my teeth with that. Don't.
You sure? You sure you brush your teeth with that, buddy?
Curious to know what it was he thought he could have said that would have been so bad. What was he gonna call me? Like a radical?
It seems like a challenge to me.
Leftist scum. I mean, I would have brushed my teeth with that.
Bro probably runs through like 50 toothbrushes a fucking month. Like every time he tries to brush his teeth, just like the toothbrush is just left in pieces. He has to have like 20 other toothbrushes on deck just to brush his teeth twice a day.
And don't threaten me with a good time, okay? Don't threaten me with a good time. But yeah, man, I don't know. I think all this stuff is really kind of crazy because I think I said this in the video before, like, I honestly was
gonna put down those Zulu savages with a mouth like that.
Just gonna say my piece and leave it at that. And, you know, Rob is entitled to respond.
You're gonna bankrupt their country, funding the rest of Europe to fight Napoleon with a mouth like that.
To whatever he wants to respond to, because I mean, he is the subject of it. I will say I have seen some people that have made videos in regards to what I had to say, and there are some people who have said some pretty wild shit. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't.
Gonna give all of China an opium addiction just so they can sell tea with a mouth like that.
And since Rob has been playing vague about shit, I guess I'll play vague about that too. I think I said this in the other video. Rob and I were never friends. Like, we were never I would be open and honest about the fact that I wanted to be friends. You know.
Bro, look, people you want to be friends with, you don't call them a coon. You don't accuse them of hating being black. You don't say that they follow races. You don't come at them weird in DMs. People you want to be friends with. It's like, nigga, I don't want to be friends with your weird ass saying all this shit out the side of your mouth and then coming to play nice to me in DMs, bro. Go away.
I
fucking weirdo.
I thought that, you know, that was something that, you know, would have been nice, but like, you know, as time has passed on, and honestly, I don't think that would have worked out very well in the long run anyway, because in this day and age where, you know, things are as awful as they are, I don't like both sidesers. I don't like centrist.
What if both sides are retarded? I feel like we live in a time, we really do live in a time where it's very reasonable for somebody to just go, both sides are retarded. I'm sorry. They are. Both sides are retarded. It's actually been super validated, like in the past few months, that no, there actually are quite, especially the past few weeks, right? Like the past month has been a lot of validation that there is quite a lot of both sides retardation going on. Now, I still lean towards one side more than the other, but I can at least admit that the side I'm leaning towards has a lot of retardation going on. This dude can't. This dude is down with nothing that the left does, especially the far left does, is ever wrong, even if it's objectively wrong.
Like moderates. I don't like people who try to pretend to be enlightened centrists to act like, oh, being in the middle is the perfect place to be. You know, I think that shit's stupid. I think it's stupid. And it's kind of how we get to where we are right now.
Where are we right now? See, this dude is saying, I don't care about people who have their own individual politics, because all he has on the mind is id poll. So he's like, well, if you're somebody who's centrist, that means you wouldn't agree with me in all of my far left progressive identity politics beliefs. Okay, but what if my politics are mainly guided by fiscal policy? Well, then, okay, I can't be a leftist, because a lot of leftists don't even have the concept. They can't even conceptualize fiscal policy. And I'm not saying that the right is any better these days. If you're a libertarian and you really want to get rid of the debt, you just want us to stop spending money on stupid shit, you're kind of shit out of luck, at least until, I don't know, another presidential cycle or whatever the fuck. But I'm just saying, there are all sorts of very secular reasons that have nothing to do with the culture war, why somebody would be a centrist or would be moderate. But this guy, he doesn't get it. He can't even fathom it because he shuts it all out, right? You're wrong on principle. You disagree with Ernie, you are objectively wrong on principle. He actually believes that.
There are too many people trying to pretend that the truth is in the middle when in reality, it's not. I'm not going to play that game. Not going to play that game. And the other thing that I'm really...
And he'll never explain why. Even in the original video, he never really extrapolated on his points because he can't. Because it's nonsense. It's all gobbledygook, right? All the way down. He doesn't have any real beliefs. It's all vibes for him. Somebody told him something and he was like, yes, sir. And that was it. It'll never go any deeper than that. And this isn't just a phenomenon with the far left. It comes with anybody who's any sort of zealot for anything, whether it be for identity politics, for religion, for a cult, for any sort of cause. It's the same type of thinking.
Going to play is, you know, this whole idea.
See, here's the a good idea. Truly good ideas don't really require, they need people to believe, but they don't need super true believers, right? Right? It's like, I don't know, capitalism doesn't require true believers in order to function because it's already a solid good idea, right? Something like socialism, you need true believers because it doesn't work. Only in theory does it work. And even then, not really, because it relies on a bunch of idealistic, bunch of ideal conditions in order to operate functionally, right? True believers are for shit ideas.
Because people have been trying to be like, oh man, it's so terrible to see two black men beefing, man. Oh my god, man, y'all need to kiss and make up and get back together and
y'all were never together. Y'all weren't even friends. Even you admit that. Rain Cloud Part, thank you for $5. If Rob was following a dude like ranting for vengeance, I could maybe. Guy has no problem being avert. Rotten Pie TV, thank you for $5. Especially sick of these sheltered types talking about how awful things are all the time, surrounded by toys. Very true. It's like, it's one of those things, right? I'm not a fan of what America is doing right now with Israel and Iran. I'm not, but I also understand that I'm an American, and realistically, outside of, I don't know, things getting more expensive and more of my money, more of my taxes going to Israel, probably, there's not going to be a whole lot of, and me also getting more immigrants from Iran. There probably ain't going to be a whole lot of difference in my day-to-day life compared to the people who are in the Middle East right now. I can understand that. Some of these dudes, they act like there's an apocalypse going on outside as they live in their comfy bedrooms surrounded by their comics and video games and toys in their safe neighborhood in a first world country. Okay, bro. I don't think things are that bad. Listen. Your boy Black Weeb, thank you for $4.99. It's insane how much Blerd doesn't see how much of a token blacks are to white leftists. Hassan literally said he doesn't care for black opinions. Well, you're wrong there, bro. You called Hassan white? Are you trying to insinuate that Hassan is a white leftist? Come on, bro. Hassan is Turkish. That is an Asiatic. Come on, bro. Well, at best, Hassan, he's probably from the eastern part of Turkey, so you could say that he's Greek. And even then, it's like saying white. That's kind of, Stephen Bobobo, thank you for $5. Why is this dude crash out now? Because people realize he's full of shit. True. Brendan Fraser, thank you for $5. Watching this makes me wish Rob had an actual bone in his body to tell this ankle biter off. Instead, he gives him more crumbs to feed him for a week. Yeah, he should just call him a bitch and be done with it.
And try and work this out. And here's the thing.
He doesn't even have to be as, explicit as me. Just call him slurs. Just say, hey, bitch nigga, stop talking about me. Keep my name out of your mouth.
I would not be able...
Trying to use my name as clout to fucking build up your dying channel. Shut the fuck up.
To make nice with Rob based on some of the things he has said and done. Just keeping it a buck. He tried to like blow off the Angel Reese shit, but I was like, dude, you called Angel Reese a braggart and cocky and arrogant and all stuff.
How is that racist? You literally can't say anything negative about black people. Okay. So what about your wife? If you ever, let's say, I don't know, let's say you're doing something in the kitchen and you like drop something on the floor, you break a plate or a glass, and your wife is like, Ernie, you're so fucking retarded. Why do you keep breaking shit in the kitchen? What happens if our son fucking steps on it and he's bleeding out his feet? Are you gonna call your wife a racist bigot because she called out your dumb ass for dropping shit in the kitchen and possibly making your son bleed to death? Can your son even say anything? Is your son black enough to like say something negative about a black person and you not call them racist? Like, come on, bro.
Other stuff. And Caitlin Clark is all of the same things. I don't even think she hides it better.
She's a better player.
Just a white woman, so she gets a pass.
Yeah, she's the better player.
But that's
when you're the best player, you get bragging rights.
That's another story altogether.
You couldn't tell when Kobe and Michael Jordan were at their peak. You couldn't tell them shit because they were that nigga.
But yeah, just the way he kind of.
Caitlin Clark is that nigga of the WNBA, so she gets to talk shit. All these other bitter bitches, they need to get good.
Responded to that and like his dismissiveness of. And I'm not talking about the fact, I think that's the other thing people got mixed up. I'm not talking about the fact, I don't care whether he likes Milestone or not. I really don't. But it was.
You need to stop bringing it up then, bro. For somebody who says you don't care, you bring up stuff you say you don't care about an awful lot for somebody who doesn't care about them.
The dismissiveness of the tone that he spoke with when talking about Milestone, where I was just like, yeah.
Organized Chaos said Drinker calling a black woman a clown is racist, yet he said it's not racist when people call Eric July a clown. Yeah, that is very curious, Bebop. It's almost like these rules they made up are just complete bullshit, that they have no sense. They make no sense. They have no consistency. They're just all vibe based, and they're just the intention. See, the intention for these things is like they're not trying to make any sort of thing with consistency. The point of this is that they get to control what you can say and what you can do. That is the end point, right? It's like words don't have meaning for people like Organized Chaos, Actual Fandom, or Ernie here, right? Words are just tools to get people to do what you want to do. That's why they can contradict themselves from one sentence to the next, and they don't like think anything of it at all, because the point wasn't for them to make sense. The point was them to manipulate you into doing something. Now, what these people don't understand is that we're not the raped. They are the raped, right? They have these easily malleable brains that these people, the powers that be, are able to just psyop and get them to believe. They can just zap all these ideas into their smooth brains and they'll believe them. The average person who isn't very smart, average person with the average IQ isn't that retarded, right? At least not that retarded, right? So we don't fall for this. So when we hear something, right? We hear them say things that don't make sense. We don't go, oh, okay, well, you know, based on the vibe, I guess I'll just go with what you're trying to say to me. We'll be like, wait, no, bro, that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, I'm not going. And, you know, it pisses people like Ernie off.
Yeah.
It pisses Ernie off that he wasn't able to successfully psyop Rob into like bending the knee and joining his progressive Borg. It really bothers him that didn't work.
I don't like that. That doesn't sit right with me. Like, it's stuff like that. And then also just, you know, how he finds merit in the things that white supremacists say. I can tell you, I don't agree with him on anything. And I am pretty safe and secure in the.
Are you sure? Like, what do you mean you don't agree with Rob on anything? Rob probably agrees with your politics like 90%. If you said something like, hey, Rob, do you agree, like what ICE is doing right now? No. Rob, do you like Trump? No. Rob, do you like, are you cool with like gay people and trans people? Yeah, I'm cool with them. He'd probably say yes to like nine out of 10 things that you would ask him about the things that you believe. Like, you guys would like, it'd be almost symmetrical. But he's missing that 1 out of 10. That crucial 10% is just, you have to struggle session him into being obedient.
Knowledge of that. Are you really so cooked? Are you really so simple of mind that you...
Yeah, it is the J.K. Rowling situation. Like, people, I don't know, bro. The way some of these leftists have been talking about J.K. Rowling over the years, you would think that she was like the reincarnation. Wait, who am I thinking about? You would think she was the second coming of Margaret Thatcher. She's not. J.K. Rowling is a liberal feminist woman. That's always been her belief. She's just not like super duper. She's not even like explicitly anti-trans. She's just not like 100%. She doesn't think that like dudes who say that they're women and like they don't like, I don't know, they got like the dick, they got the gear and everything, right? They still got their gear equipped and everything. Literally just niggas in wigs. She doesn't think that they should be allowed in women's locker rooms, women's changing rooms, women's bathrooms. She doesn't think that should be a thing. And they just like, they won't let up on her. They just call her this great female Satan just because of this one issue, which isn't even like, she's not even like a super duper turf, but this one issue was enough for them to just try and cancel her for years now. Like even like her former friends. What former friends? The former actors, the young actors who she made stars. J.K. Rowling made all those little child actors who the biggest roles of their lives have still been Harry Potter. Literally none of them have gone over that mountain. The peak of their career was being in adaptations of J.K. Rowling's material. They turned on this bitch, right? And it's crazy, bro. It's never enough.
Need white supremacists in order to dictate your moral compass. And you know, I mentioned earlier that Lil Bill had a reaction to the situation. There was one particular part, and I'll play this clipping, but you should go watch the whole video. But he breaks it down in a way that I thought was pretty damn effective. So I don't know here.
Stephen Bobo, thank you for the $5. You need to make a video to put these guys in their places. I really don't think that guys like Ernie are even worth, they're even worth me making the content. I usually reserve videos for like, I don't know, shit I think is worthy of me putting in the effort that's going to come with me making a video about something. Ernie just ain't worth it. Ernie is stream material. That's what he is. He's just something for me to get off the docket. That's why I'm covering him now. Only reason we're covering Ernie now is because it's been 2 weeks since he put up this video. And there's other shit that I want to talk about in the future. So I just got to get him off the plate real quick. And, you know, we'll be done with him. Dave, thank you for £2. They use language to manipulate, not communicate. Exactly. Because they don't have any ideas to communicate in the first place. Dingo Dial's Revenge. Is that how you pronounce it? No, Dingod Isles. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm just going to call you Dingo. Dingo, thank you for the 1031, buddy. This reminds me of Southpaw's 6.5-hour video trying to call Mahler a racist for being friends with Neurotic. After being friends with Mahler for years, these people eat their own. What? I'm sorry, what the fuck are you talking about here? What? What'd you say? Let's see. Southpaw Mahler. Let me see. Is that still a video? Oh my God, you weren't even fucking exaggerating. Law and Border. EFAP's unbridled media. Oh my God, dude. I literally, this is the only time you guys are gonna hear me, like, I don't know, sanctify violence on stream or in content. We need to beat everybody who talks about media literacy and illiteracy to death. All of these niggas need to be hanged. They need to be thrown in volcanoes. They need to be buried alive. If I hear one more nigga talk about media literacy again, I swear to God, dude, I am so tired of this shit. Like, what even is this? Have I watched this before? Hold up. Because I've never heard, I don't even know what this video is. There's no way I've watched this before.
Now, there's this perception of...
Did somebody give me a clip to something and I saw it before? I do not remember.
Winnie the Pooh blood and honey.
Guy that the cartel has sent to keep an eye on her, and is then told,
And bro only got like 40, he didn't even get 50K views. After 2 years, he didn't even get 50K views, bro. And it's like, imagine spending all that time editing a 6.5 hour video just to get less than 50K views after 2 views. He didn't even gain like, what's his channel look like? Let's see. Oh, damn. That didn't do shit. Well, hey, bro. Hey, you burned that bridge for a good reason, I'm sure. Your boy Black Weeb, thank you for $4.99. To be fair, a third of it is JK's fault for changing details about characters to appease the Tumblr crowd. Yeah, that is true. She kept trying to push the Haremon was actually always black thing, you know, which obviously wasn't the case. She's the reason why Dumbledore is gay, right? She never showed any inkling of that. But then she's like, well, no, he's actually, she was doing a lot of George Lucasing, right? Leading up to her being canceled by the left. So in my opinion, it's kind of like karma. Well, I guess it's not really karma because she's still a fucking billionaireess and one of the most well-known writers to have ever lived. So I don't know. It's not really karma. They really haven't done anything to J.K. Rowling. I remember when the Hogwarts game was coming out, all the people who hate J.K. Rowling, they were like, we're going to cancel this game. This game is going to die. We can't let anything to do with Harry Potter or J.K. Rowling succeed. Game fucking did gangbusters, bro. They didn't stop shit. So that was kind of funny. No. 7, thank you for £2. Have you heard of The Birdman? Yes, I do. I have heard of The Birdman, and I haven't watched any of his videos before. I think, hold up, no, it was that Eric July one. When I was looking up shit, or I was doing research, I just watched the Eric July, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the one about him being a grifter. I watched that, and no, I watched a little bit of that, and then I stopped because it was just, oh, this is just a boring leftist. And I'm like, okay, I'm not interested in that. He's got a better voice than Ernie, at least.
Yeah.
I don't gotta read Mein Kampf to understand why Nazism is bad. I don't gotta do that shit. I don't gotta read the Turner Diaries, you feel me, to understand why racism is bad. I
mean, okay, but it's like, I mean, he's not really making a bad point here. Obviously, you don't have to fucking go to, like, you don't have to read, you don't gotta read, like, Milton Friedman to be a good capitalist. You can just run a good business, right? You don't gotta do all that shit. You don't gotta read Thomas Sowell or whatever to be a good libertarian. But, you know, it would help. Here's the thing. If you're somebody who talks about this shit, then yes, you do. If you're somebody and your content is just revolves around you talking about Nazism or shit like this, then yes, you actually do have to go to the source material and educate yourself. You actually do.
I don't need to do that. You feel me? I don't need to listen to, you know, Kanye's Nazi song. I got that J Electronica John dropping in a couple of days. You feel me? I don't need to listen to Jay's next album whenever it come out to understand why anti-Semitism is bad, why anti-Semitism is a problem. I don't need to actively, that's on me then.
And once again, go check out the full video.
Okay, that dude's situation is different than you because he doesn't like talk about that shit for content. If you're talking about that shit for content, if you're trying to act like you're an authority or some shit, then yes, you do have to read something, bro. You have to educate yourself. That guy does not have to educate himself. He can just be a layman on these fucking topics. That does not apply to you, buddy. You can't be retarded. I'm not saying that guy's retarded because the average person has not read the Mein Kampf. The average person has not read fucking Turner Diaries. You know, so it's fine. But it's like that's just a regular guy who just makes content on the internet. You are not that guy. You like to talk about this shit and act like you know some shit. So you do have to engage with this shit with some sort of intellectual curiosity.
I'll leave a link in the description below. I don't need racist to help me figure out whether or not I'm on the right side of something. I have a pretty strong moral compass.
Okay, but that's not just how it is though. You talk about this stuff, bro. You have to familiarize yourself with the subject matter. How can you know your enemy if you don't even look to see what your enemy is saying? You showed all those clips and you showed it was very clear you do not know what makes Critical Drinker or Nerdrotic racist. You went a whole 2.5 minutes, all these clips, all these screenshots. You didn't show a single thing that validated the things that you say about these dudes being white supremacists at all.
If I see something questionable, I have mechanisms in place.
Also, the rights. Wait, what?
To you, and these are all mechanisms that are internal in my head.
You don't have anything going up in there, bro. That shit is as clean as the lack of hair on your head, bro. Smooth brain, smooth, everything is smooth up there, bro. You ain't got nothing going on up there. That's why you were able to get psyops so easily, because you have no internal questioning system. You don't have anything in your brain that went, But is that true though, right? That's a very, very important skill. That's a thing that a lot of people don't have reflexively. And that's why you got to teach critical thinking to children in school, right? You got to teach some people to go, is that true though? Like somebody tells you something, you got to go, but are you telling me the truth? Are you being 100 with me? This guy does it, right? This guy hears something and his brain goes, yes, that is true. Or no, don't even listen to that guy. There's nothing in between.
In my soul, if you believe in such a thing.
Okay.
To help me figure that shit out.
Do you believe in such a thing? Do you believe in such a thing? I find it very, you know what, maybe that's not, because the thing about black leftists is that a lot of them actually, surprising amount of them actually are like religious. A surprising amount of them are Christians and Muslims and shit. So maybe.
I don't need anyone.
It's really only, same thing with Jewish leftists. It's really only, honestly, I'm going to say even Asian leftists, right? Because the Chinese American mayor of Boston is actually like a devout Catholic. So maybe, I think it's only like white leftists. Only white progressives are like majority atheists. Everybody else has a religion. Like the leftist Arabs, right? Like Mamdani, he's Muslim, right? You got a lot of these black leftists, they're Christian, right? I think it's really just like a white leftist thing to be atheist and think that religion is incompatible with being a progressive.
Just saying racist things around me to be like, you know what? I was right. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't want anyone to think that like I don't think there is any merit to listening to people I disagree with. But here's the thing. When we disagree,
there is something to it, right? To say something like that, to say there's no merit in listening to people you disagree with, like you're automatically a retard. If you say that, if you unironically believe there's no merit in listening to people you disagree with, you are dumb by default. There's nothing you can do, right? Because nobody with an IQ, like pretty much almost everybody on Earth who's smarter than you, which is a sizable number of people. Like let's say the top 1% of the population in terms of IQ, none of them would agree with that at all, that there's no merit in listening to what people who disagree with you have to say, right? Because if you're somebody who's successful, part of the reason you get successful is that whenever you hit a wall, whenever things aren't going your way, you have to go to people with dissenting opinions and see, okay, what are they doing right that I'm doing wrong? Or can somebody tell me what I'm doing wrong right here that's keeping me from getting to the next level, right? Like you can't even become, if you're somebody who didn't start off rich, you can't become a millionaire or a billionaire without being wrong a bunch of times and having somebody course correct you, without having to go for a second, third, fourth, or whatever opinion. It's impossible.
On my fundamental right to exist, there is no both.
Like he's taking pride in being ignorant. He's like, yeah, I'm ignorant, and that's how it should be. No, it's not.
sides. There is no centrism. There is no, well, I might be making some points. No, there's none of that. Sorry. It just ain't. It just ain't it. I'm sorry. You, if that's you.
This is a sick Negro.
But that's some.
You a sick Negro. You a sick Negro for not thinking that you're 100% right about everything all the time. You a sick Negro for daring to read books about subjects that you consider contentious and trying to challenge your ideas. You're a sick Negro for debating people with ideas that disagree with you and trying to actually have a marketplace of ideas where you trade thoughts with each other. You're a sick Negro if you have any sort of intellectual curiosity about things you don't 100% align with 100% of the time. This nigga is actually unironically retarded. This guy is actually dumb. I'm gonna say this straight up. This is one of the dumbest people. This is the dumbest person who I have ever covered, ever. In any video, in any stream, ever. I would say, no, he is dumber than Rich. Nah, actually, I'm not gonna say no, because Rich is basically this guy. Rich didn't used to be this guy, but he's been radicalized, which is just being psyoped. That's what being radicalized is, in my opinion. People say radicalized. No, because a lot of people who get radicalized, they just become lame and gay. What it is he's been psyoped, just like Ernie here has, and he has shut out all dissenting opinions. He doesn't want to hear any of it anymore, right? And that's when you truly become dumb. That's when you only truly become an unofficial dumbass, in my opinion, when you just shut out the ability to listen to people who disagree with you and try and self-reflect. Once you turn that off, then yeah, there's nothing that can be done for you. That's Dark Side Phil's problem. That's a lot of lolcow's problem, but that's especially Phil's and people's like that's problem. They will not listen to people who disagree with them. They think that they are correct, and no matter what. And so, I don't know, there's nothing that can be done. DB7314, thank you for the 199 pounds. I didn't know Fat Albert was back on the air. Majin, thank you for $2. Mikey, have you read the eye size paper? No, I'm not familiar with what that is, actually. I'll look it up in a second. Hold on. Ames, what's up, bro? Thank you for the $2. Big ups. Have you read DCKO? It was good. What is DCKO? Is that like a DC comic book?
Sick Negro shit. Sorry. Not sorry.
And he's so smart. He doesn't even know that he's self-owning. He doesn't even know that. Bro, I'm not being hurt by the fact that you're retarded and you refuse to listen to people who disagree with you on anything. That doesn't hurt me at all. Yeah, it hurts you.
Man. As far as I'm concerned, this was this was gonna be it. I think by the time you guys see this, I've probably already spoken with Saros, but for the most part, I'm done with it. That's all I have.
Barely Dare, thank you for $5. Blessed is the mind too small for doubt. Banger satire from 40K.
I have to say, I'm not gonna go into it any further if I don't have to, and I'm pretty sure I will.
He failed. Basically, this is what happened. The views, he got a bit of a view boost. A little bit. He got a little bit of a view boost. It went back. The fluctuation was very short-lived. He got a lot of criticism. A lot of people called him a loser and all sorts of other things, like I did earlier, calling him slurs and whatnot. And also, he failed to psyop Ernie. Ernie, who's already a left-leaning guy, just completely was like, no, get the fuck out of my face. Fuck you, man. You're a snake. You're a two-faced, passive-aggressive, effeminate bitch, which he is. Ernie didn't say that. I mean, Rob didn't say that. That's what he should have said, because that is what he is. So that failed. So he's going to retreat now, like the effeminate bitch, passive-aggressive, femme male that he is. And it's going to be the last we hear of him, hopefully.
But for the most part,
DB7314, thank you for another 199 pounds. Steve Urkel put on some pounds. That's it.
As far as I'm concerned, this is the end of it. If Rob says he's done, he doesn't want to talk about it anymore, there's nothing else to say. I think everything.
I mean, that was that was the case from the beginning. Rob never said he wanted to talk about anything from the get-go. It was you. It was you and people like you who were jumping down his throat. Pause. And you guys were trying to force him to have opinions that he didn't have, even though he already agrees with most of your opinions on most of these things.
At least on my part,
you started this. Like, bro started a fight, and then it didn't go the way he wanted to, so now he's backing away and pretending like he never started any problems to begin with. If you hadn't called him a coon and other shit and got all up in his business and all up in his DMs, none of this would have happened, bro.
Like I've said everything.
I wouldn't even be talking about you.
Everything I had to say. You guys let me know what you think. I mean, you're going to do that anyway, most likely. I know some of you are going to come over from Rob's channel and definitely tell me about myself.
Hell Knife School.
And that is probably where some of the most racist things I have ever heard have come from, is from the people coming over trying to defend Rob.
Really? The most racist thing you've ever heard was the fans of a black guy coming to defend the black guy that they like and are fans of. That's the most. I don't even think he knows what racism is. Like, genuinely. I don't think he could actually, if you asked him what the definition of racism is, I don't think he could give it to you. I don't think he's capable of that. I think it's beyond like his brain capacity. I don't think he's ever looked it up. Somebody said racism, and they gave the wrong definition. And because he has no intellectual curiosity, he takes pride in being ignorant. He takes pride in not thinking deeply about things, right? He just went, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is what racism means, right? And he never thought about it again. So he just thinks that he thinks that racism is you disagree with the things I say. That's what racism is. Because again, I said it earlier, with these people, words don't have meaning. Words are tools to get people to act a certain way or think a certain type. They can only think about communication in terms of power games, mind games, and psyops. That's it. There's no actual exchange of ideas or trying to find common ground, trying to figure out solutions to problems. It's just mind games, power games, and psyops. That's all that communication is to people like Ernie here. And he loves it. He loves being, I don't know, dumb. He loves being stupid, basically. Let's see. No. Where is it? No. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. No. Okay. I'm all over the place. Let me just go here. Let me just go here. All right, there we go. There goes the fucking. All right, here. We're Stream VODs. Stream VODs is where you guys can find where all of the streams are and where they will go. Where this one will also go once I end this thing in another minute. How long have we been going? We've been going about, oh shit, 2 hours. That's a short stream for me. I don't know. Some people say that this is a long stream. If you think that 2 hours is a long stream, then you aren't streaming for real, which is fine. You can be a hobbyist. I'm just saying. I'm not putting in enough effort, I feel, into streaming in order to say that, 2 hours is long. Like 8 hours. Like Chud Logic. Chud Logic, he puts in what I would call working streamer hours. He comes on here most days out the week and he streams like half a dozen hours or more. And that's what I would consider full time. 2 hours, that's a short stream, I gotta tell you. Let's see. Ma Jin, thank you for $2. ISIS paper, YouTube won't let me send. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, I know what you're saying. All right, I'll look at that, bro. I'll look at that, and if I'm gonna start bringing more shit that isn't just lolcow shit to the stream. I'm gonna try and mix shit up. I'm gonna try and diversify my stream content this month. We'll see. Maybe it won't work. Maybe you guys won't fuck with that shit, and I'll go back to the old format. We'll see. Stephen Bobobo, thank you for $5. Is being ignorant the reason why they call you a nigga? Yeah, that is a very commonality with dumb niggas. It's just being ignorant. DB, thank you for 199 pounds. When did RTU start doing blackface? Vito Prashad, thank you for $5. Difference between conspiracy theory and the truth is about 6 months. Even less these days. Conspiracy theorists have really been on one. John Diaper, thank you for $2. He's so fat, didn't realize he's wearing earrings. I didn't realize he has a piercing on his chin until like most of the way through the video. What are you diversifying with? What am I I'm just diversifying the content format. I'm not about to DEI-ify my content, if that's what you guys are worried about. I'm just gonna try and bring new types of content to you guys. Whoa! A Brown CBR, thank you for $100. Here's a bribe for you. Now you've made more than Ethan did right now begging for super chats for his draw streams, lol. Hey, bro. Hey, that's big ups, bro. Thank you, dude. For real. I was literally about to I'm still about to shut down the stream. But I appreciate that. I really do. Hail A Brown CBR. Hail chat. I got a video. Two videos coming out this month. I'm not giving dates because I know what happens. I know what happens when I give dates to shit. It's not happening. I'm not falling for my own psyop, my own little trap this time. I'm gonna keep the dates ambiguous. The content is coming though. The content is coming. Anyway, hail chat. Appreciate everybody for coming around, and I'll see you. Thanks for coming to the stream. Average Welder 2, thank you for $20.